What is up, awesome people of the internet? NaLyssa Smith has been released from her Chinese team, and some of y'all probably saw that and were like, "What? What's going on?" And you probably had some speculation. Does Dejanay have something to do with it? Does blah blah blah? And I want to kind of give y'all some context, and also give y'all a mini history lesson on international women's basketball, because some of y'all are new to women's basketball, and that's great. But there's some stuff that you don't know, specifically about how China's teams run. And that can give you a little bit of insight into what may have happened to NaLyssa Smith, why she's not with the team, and yada yada. So, NaLyssa Smith, if you don't know, she plays for the Indiana Fever, which is in the WNBA, of course. She is still on the team for next year, though they have an opportunity to trade her if they want to. But if I'm them, you definitely want to keep her because she is a talent, even though she did not have that great of a season last year. Her first 2 years in the league were, in my opinion, really, really good. And so, yes, have a slight downturn, but her fourth year, I think, is going to be good as well. Is going to be back to where she was before. But when it comes to WNBA players, they have only really had two options when it comes to offseason play, or three, actually. You could either go to Europe, primarily Turkey, if you're really, really good. In the past, it was Russia, but now Europe, with the emphasis on Turkey. You could go to Australia, or you can go to China. Those are your three options historically, or that you've had to choose from. Those are like the biggest options that you had when it comes to the offseason, because in the offseason, players still play, right? And in some instances, you actually make more money going overseas, primarily in Europe and China, than you would even in the WNBA. So you finish your WNBA season, you pack your bags, you go over to a foreign country, and you play there in the offseason. Sometimes you're getting back either right before the training camp starts, or you get a little bit of time, like maybe a week or 2 weeks in between. So that's usually what happens, right? You go overseas, and then you stay there, and then you come back right before the WNBA season starts. Now players have more options because you have Athletes Unlimited that's been going around for a couple of years. I will be doing more coverage on Athletes Unlimited. Athletes Unlimited is basically a way to still pay WNBA players, and a way to get players who are sort of on that bubble of maybe they're a WNBA talent, maybe they're not, to try to get them noticed in America. So those games this year are happening in Nashville, Tennessee. And so Athletes Unlimited is an option, but Athletes Unlimited is like not as talented in terms of like players on their teams, especially if you compare them to like the highest league in Turkey. Like Athletes Unlimited would struggle to compete with that, and also they don't have as much money as the foreign leagues will pay players. And so yes, it's an option for some, not an option for majority of players to choose Athletes Unlimited as an option. Now you have the option of Unrivaled. Unrivaled is the league with Nafisa Collier and Brianna Stewart, and they're getting that up and running. That's going to be starting very, very soon. So that's now a option where it seems like that's where a top amount of WNBA players will go in the offseason. They'll play 3-on-3 in Unrivaled. So now that's an option, but historically it hasn't been an option. So your options are really Europe, China, Australia. Now, here's the cons about China. China is cool because sometimes they will give you a high amount of money, right? They will also lavish you with a whole bunch of gifts depending on like how good you are and how valuable you are to their team. And you're gonna make money. You're gonna get a lot of playing time. You are just gonna be in an environment that is kind of catered to you in a way. And you're gonna thrive. You're gonna thrive, and you're gonna be successful, and that's how you're gonna rock out. And that's how NaLyssa Smith was doing this season. She plays for a team called Zhejiang, and Zhejiang is actually a pretty good team in the Chinese Basketball League. And so far this season, NaLyssa has played in 17 games, averaging 16 points and 7.2 rebounds a game. So really, really good. On the top, sort of towards the top echelon of players in the Chinese Women's Basketball League. And so, yeah, she's doing good. She's rocking out. And so you're like, okay, well, if she was a really good player on the team, why did they just release her? Well, they released her or mutually parted ways with her because she got hurt. Here's the thing in China. When you get hurt, you are no longer a use to your team, and your team will release you. This is very different than the WNBA. You know, different than other teams that play in Europe or Australia, where once you're no longer a use, bing bang boom, you're gone. You are gone, 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 and they're gonna replace you immediately because China does not have like they're not gonna allow you to rehab. I mean, maybe if you're out for one game, but like if you're gonna be out for a couple of weeks or whatnot, no, they're not allowing you to take your time to come back. They're just not doing that. The last game that NaLyssa Smith actually played was last year, which isn't saying much. The last game she played was on December 30th, and so yeah. That's the thing to note. She is injured. She will not be returning to China, and that's why. They're not having her return because she's injured. It is what it is. But I just wanted to give y'all that context of, like, there is no loyalty when it comes to the Chinese Women's Basketball League. It just isn't. There isn't. Once you get hurt, you're done. You're done. You're not going to sit on the bench and cheer on the team. You're not going to do that, right? And like in WNBA, somebody gets hurt, they're still with the team. They get the medical support. They're still there. And they are, getting rehab while they're on the bench for a week or so, sometimes even a month, sometimes even the whole season, right? That doesn't exist in China. No. Once you're hurt, once you're no longer a use to them, you are gone. Gone, gone, gone. And we have seen every year we see lots of players get waived, sort of towards this half of the year. After they've started play in China, once players start to get injured, then we see this person has been released. This person has been released. This person has been signed. I'm pretty sure in the next couple of days, we're going to see news coming out that Zhang ended up bringing somebody else on, likely an American on, right? We already saw this. Like Ty Harris has gotten waived already. And Ty Harris has been rocking out for her team, Leonang, right? Odyssey Sims got waived from Henan, right? This is a thing that once you get hurt, once you're no longer a use, you're gone. It's not the same guaranteed contracts that you have in America. It just doesn't exist. And so, yeah, NaLyssa Smith is either already back in the United States or on her way back to the United States. She's probably going to be hanging out in Miami with not Athletes Unlimited, with Athletes Unlimited is in Nashville. She'll be rocking out in Miami with Unrivaled. So she's likely going to do Unrivaled next year. Maybe she comes back to China, maybe she doesn't. It's one of those things where you just run the risk of China just being like, whatever, we don't care about you once you get hurt. But in other news, in China, Kennedy Carter, who plays for Wuhan, is still balling out of control. She's averaging 30 points a game. So, like, yeah, she's doing great. But I guarantee you, like, once, even, it doesn't matter how good you are. Once you get hurt, you are done. That is how it is. Okay? So that's your sort of education on Chinese basketball. That's how it works. So, yeah, anyway, that's the video. What do y'all think? Let me know in the comments below. And I will see y'all in the next one. Until next time, guys. Bye-bye.